Welcome into 11 Personnel presented by Monticello Bank. I'm Nick Roush. He's Adam Luckett. We've got Stephen Peak on the ones and twos. He's sweating out a Cubs elimination game, which news to me, Adam Luckett, they do 5-game series in Major League Baseball.
I think that's the thing everyone forgets. It's just the DS. It goes 7 games in the championship series and World Series.
Despicable what the Major League Baseball does. 3, 5, 7, 7. Like, no, you can't. No, one can be different. You can't make a bunch of them different. Like, and also, why are you in such a damn rush? Right? Like, people actually care to watch your games now, and you're just like, 5-game series. Let's have a bunch of sweeps. Because that's what's going to happen, right? Like, I mean, Cubs, Phillies.
Do the Dodgers lose? That's the question I'm asking right now.
No, they don't. They don't lose anything.
No, just a game. Were they just playing around all year? And then it was like, oh, this is the team people predicted to win like 115 games.
Yeah,
hey,
which like
here.
Yeah, I mean, and who like let's be real. The Dodgers know who really cares about the regular season, right? Like just make sure you don't get hurt. Be in a good spot, be in a decent spot in the playoffs. They were in one. Oh, we have to play the Reds.
Oh, we have breaking news, Nick.
Uh-oh. What?
This is bad timing. Tyreek Jemison has decommitted from Kentucky.
Oh, damn it. That is bad news. Oh, God. As soon as we get started, great.
And I just wrote about the class today. Let me do we got another one? Another decommitment?
No, is there another one?
No, I wrote about the class today in totality, just like where every recruitment is. And if you read it earlier, told me you read, watch out for Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech's the one to watch here. They've been making a big push and they're having a big season. So, yeah, Tyreek Jemison is out. The first, I think we might see another one or two as this goes on.
This was their highest ranked offensive line recruit, so not ideal. Not ideal in the slightest. So how do we want to do this? Do you want to try to whip up something really quick or?
Yeah, I can write and talk because they pay me the big bucks. This is why On3 gave me a contract extension right here. the pod and blog at the same damn time.
And, you know, I can do some filibustering, but Jemison's recruitment in particular stood out to me because I forgot what I was doing. Actually, I know exactly what I was doing. We had a radio show remote at the barbecue place in Fairdale, which is really great too. It's a free plug for them. Shout out to Shaq in the back. And I was sitting there waiting for Jemison's commitment to happen, and I actually bet a race at Keeneland. It was Keeneland or Churchill, but Andy B. and Cone gave out a live long shot, and a $6 bet paid like 90. So I was feeling good. I was feeling great. But Jemison was taking forever, so I said, hey, you know what? I got the post all written. We'll go to Walmart. I mean, I stopped at Walmart, got things, and he's still like it was one of those technical difficulty ceremonies that had taken a while. This was a significant Eric Wolford recruiting win. It was probably his biggest. It was like the other guys were guys you could talk yourself into, like Cameron Jones and
Cameron Miller. Cameron Miller is
Cameron Miller.
We're alluding to, but it's just them two. I'm pretty sure in the class.
Oh. So, yeah, well, that's the other thing, too. I feel like I kept being like, oh, there's one more. And actually, no, there's not.
Jemison was he was the gem if you're going to rank prospects, he was top 5 to 7 in this class.
And the best offensive lineman, without a doubt. And now he is decommitted according to On3, Rivals, Hayes, Foss. I guess he's technically Rivals now. This is going to take me a while to get used to. 6'5", 315-pound offensive lineman from the Atlanta area, 3-star talent. Tyreek Jemison decommitted, as Luckett said. Georgia Tech is one to watch there. Obviously, the big one from a recruiting standpoint is Matt Ponatoski. Hold on to him. Hold that tiger. I think in his case, it's a lot different because quarterbacks, like just the nature of the beast is different. You're expected to you recruit them earlier. There's not as many to go around, and it's not like offensive linemen where you're taking 5 in a class, right? Everybody kind of gets one. The spots get gobbled up. The NIL agreements get gobbled up. And there's not a ton of moving and shaking late in the process unless you're one of those big 5-star guys that's I don't know, Larry Ellison comes in and wants to pay you a bunch of money to flip from LSU to Michigan, right? Like that. It happens fewer and further in between. But obviously, there's the baseball conversation that will be had again at some point, which is, just another cherry on top of the poop Sunday that we are currently dealing with because there's just, there's a lot going on, and
Yeah,
it's
no, I'll
not,
say this. I'll say this, Nick, and we're going to get into it.
yeah,
You go 2-3, you get blown out in consecutive SEC games.
yep,
Your fan base has upset the coach. There's a lot of stats heading in the wrong direction with this program. This is inevitable.
yep.
Like this, honestly, this reminds you of the old days, right? Like this stuff still matters, right?
It's the
not
most
just
normal thing that's happened.
yeah. This is not it's not the most. It's not just cash to hand. Like it's cash to hand still matters. Contracts still matter, but this can still mean that you can lose momentum fast. And part of that momentum now can be like you can lose fundraising and potential dollars to circumvent the cap. Now, I think it's important to remember no matter who the coach is, they're going to have that cap number, whatever Kentucky wants to commit. So they're going to at least have a foundation to spend money on. But, right, you are going to have to circumvent the cap. You're going to have to add some money in the banana stand to get the players you want to get. But yeah,
this happened with Kentucky at the end of last season. Marquise Davis and Tucker Caddis were the two big time late defections. Caddis was the more jarring probably of the two, just from the name recognition standpoint. I mean, both of his older brothers, one's walking on to play linebackers, other one's the star tight end, team captain. That part was jarring. But then from an impact standpoint, Marquise Davis, he hasn't done a ton because Ahmad Hardy might be the best running back in college football, but he's gotten his fair share, especially in games where they're trying to lighten the load for Hardy a little bit. This type of stuff happens. It's going to continue to happen. Kentucky had a big opportunity in that Ole Miss game. I think their recruiting operation knew, hey, let's try to get as many guys on campus before this thing potentially slides away from us. They had Dayron Parks, the Florida State commit, the guard from Beckley, West Virginia, or no, Turbo, Nitro. Yeah.
Yes, West Virginia. He moved. Well, he's in Sarasota, I believe, and then he moved back home, West Virginia. He's from West Virginia, and he's playing his senior year in the Mountaineer State.
So they had him on campus. They had, 5 top 200 players in the 2027 class, along with a bunch of kids from the Commonwealth of Kentucky. I think it was the right idea because, hey, we know this will be a good atmosphere. This is a chance to win. Let's try to get everybody pulling on the same rope. Because, if we get that big win, the time is now. That place will be rocking. But now it's a lot harder to put chewing gum on the dam because as we talk about the grand scheme of issues with this program, which we're going to get to today, Luckett, when you're putting the bubble gum on the holes, the football recruiting tends to be one of the last holes that you plug. And it's not ideal because I think, as most coaches will tell you in introductory press conferences, recruiting is the lifeblood of a program. So not ideal. Not an ideal start to 11 personnel. We didn't have an availability report to break things up for us. Instead, we got a decommitment from Kentucky's highest ranked offensive line commitment. They're now down to only one offensive lineman committed. It's not great. It's not great news. But where you could probably get some better news is if you go see our friends at Monticello Bank, because they know how to make the math. A lot of the math ain't mathing for Kentucky football. You don't have to be a numbers guy to get the best numbers, the best rates for whatever your personal banking needs may be. There's a bunch of houses for sale by me right now. Check out the mortgage rates right now. A local bank's going to hook you up the best, and nobody does it better than Monticello Bank. They have been in business for, $125 years. It means they're doing something right, and they're conveniently located with 20 branches in 14 counties across the Commonwealth. They're somewhere near you. And if not, they're conveniently located at Online at nbcbank.com, Monticello Bank, where people matter. Member FDIC, equal housing lender, and proud presenting sponsors of 11 Personnel. Whew.
One thing Hayes did say, Nick, earlier tonight was Missouri was hot on the trail. So I do wonder if maybe they got in this, which would be
No, just
yet
salt in the wound.
another. Yeah, yet another that Kentucky could lose to Missouri. So we'll wait and see. I know Georgia Tech is heavily involved. Ole Miss was involved, but Georgia Tech was the big one when I was covering that recruitment over the summer with Jemison. But Wolford did he really credited Wolford. We're kind of selling him and the plan for him and all of that. And he sounded excited when you talked to him. Was excited about Ponatoski. So this is a blow.
Yeah. Not ideal.
Other than that, we're doing great here. Doing great.
You mentioned Missouri. I wanted to mention something kind of funny that happened today. I know I love to give Drink a hard time at times. He did something today that was funny. The SEC coaches teleconference happens every Wednesday, and it's kind of a snooze fest, right? So, essentially what happens, coaches are scheduled for 10-minute increments, and what it allows for, the true purpose of it, is if I'm covering Kentucky, Texas, I can call the Texas head coach and ask him a specific question about the Kentucky team, right? You're not doing it this week, but the next opponent gives you a chance to ask the other coach about the next opponent. Or if Joe Schmo from your hometown plays for another team, you can ask that coach about Joe Schmo, get a quote for him on a story you're working on. That it's really the operation for it, right? And it can be pretty boring. Maybe there's somebody who's trying to get some big picture. The helmet technology was a big talking point last year. So somebody would sit there through all the coaches and they'd ask every single one of them a helmet technology question. It gets pretty boring. Steve Moulton's the star of the show, WZZN, Huntsville, Alabama. Mark Stoops, we don't always publish what he says. So it made me happy that Drink spiced things up today. When he was on the call, he's playing Alabama this week. Huge game. Maybe my favorite game on the schedule, and it's a nooner in sleepy Como. And Kalen DeBoer was up next, and he said, "Hey, guys, I want to stay on. I want to ask the first question." Wait, huh? Another coach poking fun at another coach? Usually you see the kind of players in the background during a press conference poking and prodding. No, this time it was Drink who said, "So are you're going to wear the black hoodie of death when you come to visit us in Como?" Which I didn't realize that Kalen DeBoer was still allowed to wear hoodies. I thought they bullied him out of hoodies.
His T-shirts. I think he still does. I think he still wears it. He just was he just kind of brushed that off.
Maybe that was our first sign that DeBoer was built for the SEC, that he could handle T-shirt game.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm excited for that game. We're going to be talking about that. I don't know if I'm going to play it or not, but we're going to be talking about all the big games this weekend. Loaded SEC and some opening Big Ten games this weekend for Kentucky's bye week. So typically this episode is all about, hey, let's talk about the next opponent. But we all know what you're here for, right? We all know what you're here for. It's buyout talk. It's big picture talk. And bad news bears talk. Well, we got our first piece of bad news.
Okay, I'm back. Fully back.
And that's Kentucky losing a commitment. So there's one piece. The other piece of bad news, Kentucky just keeps losing SEC football games, and they haven't been particularly close. Is Tennessee the last close game? I don't know if I can even count Texas.
Yeah, you can't count Texas. It was Kentucky got a pick or a scoop and score. Texas ran for 300 yards, or pretty close. Kentucky hung around in that football game, and there was a moment in the second half where Cutter Boley was kind of giving them life. But yeah, the Ole Miss game this year, I would say, was close. And then Tennessee, Kentucky hung around for a little bit. And then Vandy would be the one before that. They got smashed at Florida. They got, Auburn didn't look it on the scoreboard, but they got beat down in that Auburn game. It's not like everything with this program right now, Nick. It's just, here's the arrow. We're going down 65 south, baby. We're not going north. Everything is going south. Where are the answers? Where is the fix? I think a big part of this portal rebuild was like, let's build it. We've talked about this. Let's build a team with depth across the board, inside out, invest in the trenches where we can keep games close and go win some games in the fourth quarter. And now you've played 2 or 3 games where game was over in the fourth quarter.
No, you got to be close to get there.
Yeah. So, and then you've got the thing with the offense, Nick, where it's once the other team scores 17 points, the game's probably over unless you get a defensive score. And the defense now quietly has given up 30-plus points in 2 SEC games. Now to 2 pretty good offenses, but still. And then that South Carolina game, they did not look great. They've had no answers for a QB run game last 2 weeks now.
Nope.
Two things Kentucky fans know. Throw the ball to the tight end. We can't stop QB run. Even though when both things, evidence says both things may be false at some points in the past. That's two givens you're going to get if you go to a Kentucky football game. They can't stop QB run right now. And so there's just a lot of evidence piling up. Not stacking up, piling. Piling where it's like they're starting to fall over the pile so big.
Right. If you make a mud pie or like a sandcastle, there's this game that my kid plays on the Wii where it stacks ice cream cones on top of it like scoops, and you've got to balance it before it tips over. That's where we are because everything's just kind of piled up. And that's what it feels like, where you just and the worst part too, Luckett, is that I don't even know what it's hard to know where to begin. I mean, let me start with one just little thing, and doesn't matter a ton. No, but everything, the sky is falling, right?
Absolutely.
The sky is falling, and what are you going to tell your fans to get them to think that the sky is not falling? Because you can't look anywhere without seeing the chicken screaming the sky is falling. I mean,
they're not going to say anything. That's half the problem.
They're not even getting Kevin Bacon out there going, all is well. They're doing the say nothing thing. How many
that they've patented for however many months?
I mean, so Mark Stoops, I know he doesn't normally do his show during the bye week, but there's a good chance.
That was a mistake. That was a mistake. Now we can talk about it, but they have made a conscious decision, and they're sticking to their guns, saying, "Judge us on the results. We'll take it."
Well,
that's what's happening. They're getting judged on the results right now, and the fan base is, Nick. I feel like a lot of the diehards, not all of them, but a lot of the diehards were done with Stoops going into this year. They had seen evidence of slippage, and they had seen it keep growing, and how the program, I think, operated, that they thought it was over. And I think for the most part, they've been proven right to this point. I think the Gen Pop fans that go to the game, fans that maybe aren't following recruiting, but they care. They're passionate about fans. I think those are the fans he lost at South Carolina. I think those are the fans that were in wait-and-see mode heading in this year, wanted this to work out, and were like, okay, let's see what he does after last year. That was the jumping off point. That was I'm done with this. That was getting blown out to South Carolina 2 years in a row, where you just kind of puked on yourself in both games. You look like a team that wasn't ready to play in that game for 2 years in a row, and you looked outclassed in some ways.
Yeah,
I think that was the point. People were kind of done with it. And I think those people wouldn't have been done with it so quick, Nick, in my opinion, if they would have had tried to have a normal offseason. If they would have tried to say, this is our last year was unacceptable. This is our plan. Give us time because it's maybe going to take us a little bit to rebuild it to how I want. Because, hey, I only got 9 players on the team for my 2022 and 2023 recruiting classes. So, obviously there's a balance. There's a balance that's not there from what we want. We're going to have to hit home runs in the portal. And if we miss on the quarterback, we have to pull the quarterback after 2 games, it's probably going to be ugly. So there are all these things.
Well,
that
all
have
they had
wrong.
to do was try to look like they were trying. And
simpler terms, yes.
Because a lot of people think that Mark Stoops doesn't care anymore. I mean, the guy I did radio with for almost 8 years had one more book today, and he has been for months beating that drum that Mark Stoops doesn't look like he cares. I don't see a significant difference in demeanor and attitude or whatever, but I think the part that surprises me, Luckett, is so tonight at the press conference, dude does his 1 week during the bye week. We're going to talk one time. He's asked about tackling. I think the part that he's same old Stoops when he's like, I mean, we used to be a great tackling team, and they'd be calling me all the time about it, and it wasn't. I mean, we can't really change anything. Why would we change anything up? I don't think that'll help. We just got to have better leverage. Dude, you got to try something different. And that's the whole genesis of this all, is that nothing different has been tried. They tried to do the same thing, and it ain't working. High and low, not tweeting for a week. It ain't going to work. People aren't going to forget. They're going to get angrier, right? We're talking about this right now. Matt's on Andy and Art. It's not going away.
Yeah, we're also getting to the point where it's the Brian Windhorst meme. Is this a strategy because there's a bigger, not to get galaxy brain here, but we're getting to the point because I think that's a valid point. I think they tell you they did try some different things this offseason. I think they really did make a concerted effort to try to build better team camaraderie.
Yeah. Okay. I'll give you that. Yeah.
They did some the portal strategy. They made it wasn't a big tweak, but a little tweak. They were more willing, I think, to look at Group of 5 and FCS players than they have in the past.
Yeah. Okay.
And they were more willing to pull the trigger, I think, on those guys. But to your point,
they were small changes to do nothing different in the big grand scheme of things.
The coaching and game strategy are the same, I think, and that is ultimately your point. And the overall big picture program strategy is the same. But we should expect that when they don't make any coaching changes. They told us we honestly should have seen this coming at SEC Media Days.
I mean, we had the conversation. It was an uncomfortable one too. It was a weird media days, and it was did they really just tell us that they aren't doing anything different? We went into it being can't wait till we get all the quotes about culture and leadership changes and blah 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 blah, and it was just no, same stuff.
Yeah, it was essentially we brought up our core values more, and it was just
attitude, toughness, discipline, and pride.
It just went against everything you said at the end of the year. How we needed to change, essentially. So we're sitting here in a situation now. They're 2-3, Nick. 0-3 in the league. He's a lot of losses, not very many wins here. We all know the stats. They haven't won at home. So you're sitting, and they owe him $38 million, depending on where you see it reported. $37, $38 million. Due within 60 days if they decide to buy him out. What we've seen, I don't know how you could expect them to win a game at this point. What we have seen on the field. This is a team that cannot score more than 14 points against a power conference team. This is a team that cannot tackle.
Those are important things. And
this is a team these offenses are just lighting them up consistently now. To me, I think just watching these SEC games, I think they've almost been figured out strategy-wise. Teams know where to attack them on defense. They don't seem to have the counters. Offensively, they're just not very good. They can't figure it out. Teams just seem to have them figured out. And so, like, how do you combat that? Like, I don't, like, to your point about you got to try something different. I don't know, like, it's almost like when you're a bad tackling team, to me, it's almost like being a bad shooting team of basketball. You either can tackle or you can't. Like, you either can shoot or you can't. You either can tackle or you can't. I just don't know.
Yeah.
Like, all these plays are out in space. It's about striking a blocker, disengaging, making a tackle.
Keeping your outside shoulder free and flushing the guy back inside.
But what you can get better at is leveraging the football. And in my film review this week, I wrote about it. There were 2 receptions in the third quarter of that football game. I believe the third quarter. It was Oscar Delp and Cash Jones for Georgia. These are not exactly guys that strike the fear in you with the ball in their hands in space. These are guys you should be able to corral and get to the ground. Both passes should have been, they were 5-yard passes, should have not been more than maybe an 8-yard completion. You let one was a 16-yard touchdown on 3rd and goal at the 16.
Yep.
The other was Georgia's biggest play of the day on just like a 5-6 yard curl or sit route, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell? Like, to me, that's almost an effort in coaching, lack of execution, however you want to, whatever box you want to put that in. That's the stuff that can't happen. That is the stuff that really puts my antennas up. Wow, this could get really bad. 1, are they trying? 2, where's the care effort? And 3, are they just not good enough to do that? Like, is the team they have not good enough to corral those guys?
We talked a lot about the last part going into the season was just how talented actually are they. But I think the evidence, I don't know if care is the right word, but there's some evidence that this whole offseason we were trying to coach them up to overcome adversity. Well, Brad White filled in for Stoops on that coach's show. Talked a lot about coaching confidence like it.
Yeah, I was going to get to that. That was the next thing that got my antennas up. Like, this is not the league to be coaching confidence.
I mean, if this was Brad used that word as much as Bush Hamden said, got to take a look at it after the Ole Miss.
Yes.
Game. I mean,
it was nonstop for this 30 minutes he was on the show.
And it's not ideal in a bye week with 7 games left on the season. And that's the other part that is scary. And I guess we were down in South Carolina when I said it was going to get ugly. And, like, 7 games left, you can get humbled quickly. And I think the worst part, too, in all of this, like it, is that the games get over with so quickly.
Yes.
Like, it's just 20 minutes in.
They don't have a chance. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, you can't. That part's not. And the worst part is that you can feel it, and they definitely can feel it too. I mean, and
the walls are closing in. Yeah.
So, where does this leave us?
Here's the thing. Here's the thing I think I want everyone to know. If Mark Stoops wins, I think 2 games, he's coming back. Unless he steps away.
4-8's good enough in your opinion?
3. I'm in Tennessee Tech. I would give that's a given. Which, by the way, they're kicking major ass right now.
Yeah.
In
Top
FCS.
15 FCS team.
Someone asked me how worried you should be about the game, and I was like, I don't know. Like, where's Kentucky even going to be at that point in the year?
We can actually get a spread from that too. I mean, Bill Connolly does all of the teams. I'm gonna have to. I think it
was right around 2 touchdowns. Like, they are right now. They're like probably the 4th or 5th best team in FCS right now. We'll see. They start to play some tougher competition.
But to your point, if they beat 2 power conference team and Tennessee Tech, then yeah, he's back. I'm with you. And that's kind of what I thought going into this thing. All right,
it's hard to envision. So, like, what if you go say he's most likely 3-9? That seems most likely. I don't think that's crazy to see. Let's say 4-8. Where are you, and where's the fan base? I think the fan base, Nick has got a real chance to like send a message here over this next month.
Mm-hmm.
I think people are irate.
Yeah.
I think we've overstated how many Texas fans are going to be at this game. I think there's going to be some, but it's not going to be like Tennessee's going to take over that stadium.
Yeah,
like
they'll do this for fun.
Georgia has taken over the stadium. I don't think that's going to happen with Texas.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see what that looks like and what that turns into if the game gets away from Kentucky in the fourth quarter, and then what the crowd against Florida and Tennessee Tech, what that is like. And even the Tennessee crowd, if they totally take over the stadium, that's damning if you're Kentucky. Something you cannot let. That's like it's a team thing, but it's more so like an administration and a university thing and a fan base thing. But it'd be the fan base, I think, kind of saying they're sick of this. So how to just they handle it, and then just how they kind of go about this buyout, which will play out under the table. Matt will report, he'll be the best to report that, but we're really not going to get.
Yeah.
Mitch is buttoned up, and if we get anything, it's going to be like Sexton leaking stuff out, in my opinion.
Out to Chris Lowe from
specifically if it doesn't come from Matt.
And then we'll get our Mitch Barnhart top button. You mentioned Tennessee. One of our favorite Tennessee fans is here, and Tinker says 4-8 seems reasonable for another contract.
And that's the point. Like, Tinker's bringing up a great point. That's the point. Yeah. They're a laughingstock.
Yeah.
Right now. They are the butt of all jokes. They've been the bottom of a lot of people's power rankings since the season started.
Yeah, since before
it. They're just the butt of all jokes right now. And so,
you like my Mitch Barnhart top button?
I do. I think we'll see a lot of that. And then
does it look good with the Brunt hat?
You look like a weird version of Forrest Gump right now. I don't know what kind of Forrest Gump this would be.
I'm like Forrest's kid all grown up. I'm a not fat Haley Joel Osment.
So what do you think happens, Nick? Like, do you think they have to buy him out? Like, how does this play out?
I'll tell you after I tell you about Brunt.
What would Brunt do? Is that what we're doing? What would
Brunt would kick Mark Stoops' ass to the curb with some big old damn work boots. Actually, no, it's not. It's another ad. We already did Brunt this week. I messed up. So I'll just go ahead and answer my question then. We said on the rapid reaction, apologies for the tinging sound, but there'd be conversations had this week. It's clear Matt had conversations with people and who know their way around the checks, and yeah, I think the fat lady's starting to sing if it's 3-9. But there's part of me that thinks that, like, I don't know. Like, I feel like this is going to get more painful than that. Like, I think they're going to, like that would be too easy. Getting your ass kicked in every game, because somebody made the point in the YouTube chat. At least with Joker, we knew it was inevitable. You just couldn't move forward. Whereas this has potential to get into some weird little murky gray area. And I think there's going to be at least one more power conference win. I don't know about 2, but I think there's going to be one more. But ultimately, I think what happens is the sort of Pete Thamel, Mark Stoops is stepping down as Kentucky's head coach. They negotiate the years of the buyout, and they pay him, half of it up front, sort of deal. So it's $20 million and then $3 a year over the next 5 years or something like that to get to the rest of it. That's kind of where I think it's going to happen. Where, yeah, he might win another game or 2, but ultimately it's going to get so ugly that even Stoops is probably like,
yes. I think you have to take him for his words at the Georgia game. 2 different things. I'm not going anywhere, and I have no quit in me. And then the other one, I'm sick of that crap.
It's going to get more sick.
That crap's not this crap's not. I mentioned it on the rapid reaction. The crap is not. While Uga's dog whistle tried to chase me out of town, the crap's not going away. Okay,
It's going to get louder.
It's going to get louder and louder. So again, these situations are very fluid. How you feel one week, everybody involved can be totally different in a couple weeks, and so you just kind of have to ride the wave of this. But I think it could get really bad, like really bad fast. I think him being willing to negotiate is probably pretty important. And I just think, I really do want to stress, I think the fans can make a pretty big statement here. There's a bunch of home games. Like, I just think they can make a statement. And then I haven't loved how they handled this week. To me, like, this was kind of a week, like a circle the wagons week, maybe, or just show some fight week.
Yeah.
And they did none of that. And another thing, Nick, is interesting. If you kind of look at the big landscape, when teams have had these awful years like this, they've been able to renegotiate the buyout.
Gundy,
Norvell.
Didn't Aranda do it?
I think Aranda did. Norvell was the big one where they moved some money around so they could go and get, like, they sweetened the NIL pot. They gave him money to go hire some big coordinators. I'm trying to think of some off the top of my head. I can't think of any other ones, but those would be, I could see Kentucky being interested in that, setting up a true hot seat situation for next year.
Yeah, remember.
But does your candidate that you can maybe get, is he off the table next year? I think that's maybe a factor too, and everyone knows kind of what I'm going at there.
Remember all those big NIL structural changes they were making in the offseason?
Mm-hmm.
Remember all of them that they told us all about? No, they didn't. That would have gotten people fired up. You were right, though, Luckett. I went to Game Time, gametime.co on your internet provider, or the Game Time app, and I was just looking at some Kentucky football tickets. Tennessee game is the hottest ticket right now.
Yeah.
Like, you can get in for $95 is the cheapest get-in price. But, I mean, $877, whew, that's like front row, middle. We do have some 150s, though, which looks like in the former student section. That's where I used to sit back in the day. But the Tennessee ticket is it's a hot ticket. Tinker and all of his boys, Vol and Angel, all those dorks from Volunteer Land, they're going to be making their way up. But in Game Time, you can still get in for pretty cheap at a lot of these places. Tennessee Tech, $21. The Louisville game at Don't Call Me Papa John's for under $60. Texas, $84. And you get $20 off when you use promo code ON3 for your first purchase. That's not how it works. What are you doing, Roush? Get it together. Game Time, it's the best place to get last minute tickets, whatever it may be, right? You don't have to suffer through a Kentucky football game. Maybe you go watch one of these awesome games. I would love to go to Red River one year, Mr. Luckett. I think that would be a blast, just to go to this Texas State Fair.
Deep fried beer.
Oh, gosh. In the little wax paper cups. Be a great time to head on down to the Cotton Bowl. So whatever game you want to get to, Game Time, it's the most convenient place to get your tickets. See your seats before you buy them. They'll go directly to your phone. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download the Game Time app today. Use promo code ON3 for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply at Game Time. Download the Game Time app today. Whew.
Go to Game Time. You can meet me, Bengals Jets. Joe Flacco finally gets revenge on his former team. He's just going to go on a revenge tour here. So get ready. Locked and loaded.
That's 2 weeks, right?
26. It's Tennessee weekend.
Okay. Is next Thursday's the Steelers Bengals. A little 11 personnel war.
The Yellow Towel weirdos roll into Page Burrow Stadium.
I am Page Burrow. I love that old man Aaron Rodgers is now the best quarterback in the AFC North.
Yeah, the most athletic quarterback in the AFC North, Aaron Rodgers.
I'm looking
Which
forward
I don't know. I would bet the Ravens to win that division. Still,
I mean, they just traded Ortega's brother away. Like they're kind of waving the white towel.
yeah. I wonder how like serious Lamar's injury is because I think they're kind of.
Yeah,
Remember last time he got hurt, they said he was coming back any week now, and he just missed 8 games.
yeah. Because sometimes he has diarrhea and he just misses a game, you know. But then there's other times where they string you along. Their defense is so bad though, Luckett, and they're really banged up. I think they might just wave the white towel on the season, which that would make things a lot easier for me. And hell, Joe Flacco, he's done it before, lead an AFC North team to a wild card.
That's right. We'll see.
Oh man, it would be really funny if he just starts chucking it up.
It did add a level of intrigue to really 2 Bengals games. The Steelers game at home.
Yeah.
They're coming up. And then I don't know if you know this, Thanksgiving night.
Yeah.
Cincinnati Bengals at Baltimore Ravens. So if like the Bengals could win a couple games, that's all of a sudden could be like a it's like the stink fest, like bad division game that matters to really those teams, but like it's in like this prime time window.
I'm kind of I don't want to say nervous, but that Steelers game means a lot more. So I'm not Joe Flacco just added some intrigue to it. I've got a couple questions I want to ask you, but I did get some questions on KS Board, and I feel like we would be doing our fine friends there a disservice if we don't answer them. Okay. What job, if you had to pick a position on the football coaching staff, what would you pick?
As a job?
Yeah.
I would do like GM or some type of personnel. That would be something I think I could succeed at.
I think I could coach D-line. Like,
just wear a backwards hat and yell.
Yeah. Like, right, hand placement. I mean, there's not a whole lot going on, you know. I think it'd be annoying to recruit that some, but you know what you know. I know that pretty well. But honestly, coaching sounds like hell. I want no part of it.
Yeah, you think we work crazy hours?
Yeah, I want absolutely no part of that. Ooh, here's a good one from Nick Calzada, Will Wolford.
Which is great. If you're going to rank KS Board names, it's
one of my favorites.
It's near the top.
Is it tough to go to a college and cheer for the rival team? I don't know this feeling, but I believe you had a cup of coffee on Floyd Street. Am I correct?
I did. I have a degree from there. I did not cheer for that team.
No, that's what he means. Like, was it tough cheering for the rival team and going to that school?
No, because I was straight commuter, so I wasn't really a college student. Like, I was straight commuter when I went there. I wasn't like doing the college thing.
Yeah. And I mean, you were probably still wearing the UK gear to class, and like nobody was.
Yeah, I remember like Final Four day, I wore Anthony Davis t-shirt to class, like the day before the Final Four.
Yeah, and I'm sure nobody said anything. Like,
yeah,
you know, and it's also different too that Louisville has a large population of that.
Yeah,
I think it would be different if you were a Tennessee fan at UK. You know, say like it's a little bit it's a different ball game. Which can I just say,
it happens though. Like you knew, Ohio State fans at Kentucky, and there was obviously Louisville fans at Kentucky.
A lot of them though would, especially those Ohio State guys. You know, they would juggle the football thing, but Ohio State was good in basketball when we played. Right? Like that Sweet 16 game my freshman year.
Yeah, most of them, when I went, like they liked Ohio State more in football and then basketball, Kentucky.
Yeah, and you're on campus and like everybody's locked in on Cats basketball. So you end up becoming a bigger fan of them than Ohio State basketball.
But you would just rag on them. Well, you like the Yankees? How are your Cowboys doing? Whatever the soccer team is, like, oh, you like the how's the Man U win another title or whoever the big soccer team is.
So we got a lot of questions from Steph's, but I One that I think we need to answer between the two of us was John K says Anwar Stewart over Nick Roush every single day. Oh yeah, definitely take Anwar over me. He knows a little bit more. He's got a few more years of experience than I do. Matt made this point on his hit with Andy and Ari, which if you haven't watched it, I believe they also had Mario Cristobal on this week on the same show. So Matt Jones and Mario Cristobal, big clock management guys.
I know you were going there. Two guys who have the same mindset when it comes to clock management.
Oh man, I mean Matt beat Stoops over the head on clock management.
Yeah, if he was at Miami Sports Radio, he would be going.
He would be
nuts.
killing Mario, crushing him.
Could you imagine if Kentucky lost the game like Cristobal lost that Georgia Tech game a couple years ago when they didn't do it?
So if you haven't watched it, go watch it on the On3 YouTube channel. But the point he made, which is, I think mostly true. I'm going to go back and do some homework on it. But it definitely was the case last year, which is Stoops is pretty good at winning one you don't think he's going to win. I mean, 2018 down at Florida, they escape away with that one when that was a team that finished in the New Year's Six, went to the Sugar Bowl. I think only lost 2 other games the rest of the year, and one of them was to Georgia. That was a really good football team, and Kentucky kind of dominated that game. 2019,
Missouri they were a double-digit dog to Missouri.
Okay.
Before the Bolden thing really took off. So that would have been one.
Yeah, that would have been one. COVID
2020 Tennessee, I would throw that.
Yeah. Another pick six. 21, I feel like they won all the games they should have been.
But you looked at the schedule at the beginning of the year, like the Florida LSU looked daunting in the middle, and then they ended up winning both of them. So that, in a way, that was similar. And they were a dog against Louisville and won by 1,000.
That's true. Well, pretty much every time. That Louisville game in 23 with Ray Davis was one that surprised.
That was a big. I don't think hardly anyone was picking them to win.
Yeah, they're top 10 Louisville team going to the ACC championship. You beat them.
And Kentucky had a lot of issues at the time. Like Vince had the tweet after the game was like, "All you media guys, blah 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 blah, whatever it was." But at the time, like there was a lot of they had lost the locker room. Swirling around, Ray Davis was tweeting.
I thought I was supposed to be the bell cow. You know,
there was a lot of weird stuff going on with the team at that point. And then they kind of pulled that one out of their rear.
And obviously Ole Miss last year. So there is a decent track record of pulling games out of their rear. So, Mr. Luckett, I ask you, which game is Mark Stoops going to pull out of his ass and win against a power conference opponent to close the season? The most likely.
I really don't think Florida's a good matchup for them. Florida's better in the trenches. That on the surface seems like the easiest. To me, it's Vandy or Louisville at the end.
Yeah.
Pretty close. Right now, I think they probably match up better with Louisville because Louisville cannot. They're one-dimensional. Kentucky can rush the passer. The only problem is Louisville's defense is playing pretty well, but how much of that is they've just ACC and non-conference good to this point. We'll see them once they start getting up against some better offenses.
The thing with Vandy is
how banged up is Vandy? I think Vandy could be banged up by that point. But they're on a bye.
So they're on a bye this week. They host LSU. They host Missouri. So should be top 25 teams when they come to town. Maybe LSU would fall out if they lost to South Carolina this weekend. They travel to Texas. They host Auburn. They do get a bye week before Kentucky, but that's a very tough 4-game stretch. Where are they? Right? I mean, you're undefeated going to that Bama game. Like, I wonder if the wave that Vandy has been riding, if they
run out of gas, kind of thing.
Yeah. We saw it in the second half of Mississippi State at A&M, but it's kind of the are we going to let Diego Pavia just continually get away with this, where he's winning the margins and just like it's really hard. The way they do it can be very difficult at times. So I don't know. I could see that eroding away.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
The biggest path, though, Nick, I think, in the Mark Stoops bring him back blueprint, one thing you have to do, and I don't think it's really negotiable, he's got to win a home game. You cannot go another year without winning a home game.
so what?
So the two games we said that were the most winnable were on the road at the end of the year.
Yeah.
Like, to me, you almost have to win a home game. So you're looking at Texas, Tennessee, Florida.
Okay, I'll tell you who you're
I think
not gonna
Tennessee
beat.
could have a 500 yards on wide receiver screens in this game. Like, if they don't get that figured out, it's going to be a long night. I mean, good night, Irene.
The thing
Texas
about
is weird. Like,
yeah,
oddly, I think they kind of match up well with Texas, even though I think Arch, like, you know, if you kind of watch that game, he actually did some stuff throwing the football. But
the thing
if
with
they
Texas,
get in their heads, Texas, I think that game could be like a 17-14 slugfest that maybe Kentucky could theoretically win.
Well, because Texas hasn't played any games at home of substance. All of their games are away from home field, so there's not really good confidence builders for a young quarterback who's behind a bad offensive line. So, like, if Brad White admitted on that call-in show, because somebody asked the question that Van brought up on the football podcast. Hey, y'all were stunting more than usual. And he was like, well, they had young guys on the offensive line. We were trying to confuse them and create some havoc plays. They might just get blitz happy against Arch and freaking try to rock his world. And so I personally think that one's the most likely. At Dallas Wilson, who from Kentucky's tackling that kid?
Yeah, but the thing with Florida, too, you never know when Lagway's got another random injury and when it's over with Napier.
Yeah. I mean,
so that's the thing. That's the caveat with the Florida game. Like, where they're at right now, I don't think Kentucky matches up well, but things can change by the time we get to November.
My just big thing with Florida, like, it is knowing that at any given moment they can just pop off for an 80-yard touchdown. And, like, we saw the Auburn game, Jarquez, what's his name, do it 100 times. We saw Florida do it 100 times last year. You know, like, oh, it's a close game. End of half. Oh, there's a 60-yard touchdown for Florida. Game over. Like, you just blink your eye and it's done. So yeah, that's where we're at right now. That's what we're thinking about, trying to find some sort of light at the end of the tunnel, because it's pretty bleak. It's pretty dark out there. Not a lot of good.
I do think it's important for this team to play well after the bye, even if they don't win. I mean, maybe. I guess it depends on your angle, how you're looking at this thing. Like, if there is for financial reasons for Mitch Barnhart and the University of Kentucky, I think part of the path includes them, like, being really competitive against Texas at home. And Tennessee, even to that, like, not getting just your doors blown off. You get your doors blown off in one or two of those games and don't play well in another one.
Well, they're gonna have to do some stuff to prove us otherwise. I pulled a bunch of stats today. People don't really care because they know it's all bad, but I mean, Kentucky's averaging almost a dozen missed tackles a game. Half of their receiving yards are after catch that they've allowed. It's like 690 out of 1220 or something like that.
It's like right at 6 yards per catch. They're allowing after the grab, right? They're getting 6 yards every time they catch the football after. They're gaining 6 yards plus the yards of the pass.
It's pretty obscene. The passing offense is just as bad. Cutter Bowley's worse than completion percentage. I mean, it's all bad. It's all not good. The tackling ones were the ones that really startled me, just because
to me,
a dozen missed tackles a game is.
Watching the tape against Georgia, like, I came away offensively. I thought, like, I think Cutter is still, like, the processing. He still needs work.
Yeah,
still needs to get better at.
Which is why you didn't want to have to play him right away.
But I saw him. He made some throws. I thought he hung in there. He took some shots. I liked the plan for them. They mixed up tempos. They got him out on a lot of sprint outs, gave him defined reads where to throw the ball. I liked the dose of wide receiver screens. I know people are sick of the jet sweeps, but, like, it's working with Kendrick Law. Like they're getting positive gains off that play. And I just like that. I thought they protected him in a way. And then I thought when they got drop back heavy, he was a lot more comfortable and he was making good decisions later in that game. And they had some success in the run game with McGowan in the game. Now, when McGowan went out, it was over. They couldn't run the ball at all. But, you get McGowan back in the game, and you got Boley, something to build off him. So there is I thought there was at least some positive stuff to pull from the offense. Defensively, red flags to me all over the place. Just with how they're tackling on the perimeter, how they're pursuing the football, how they're failing to leverage the ball. I still think the front is playing good football, but the back seven in that game, Nick, was bad.
Yeah, about as
that's
bad
been
as
kind of
we've seen.
That's been kind of the story of the year in some ways for that defense.
It feels like it's been a slow deterioration too.
Yeah, it feels like they're getting worse, and I wrote that in the film review. It's not getting better; it's going the opposite direction.
And this is a year-over-year sort of deal.
And then Brad White on the coaches show talks about too. We talked about the effort, or not the effort, confidence, but also he opened up, I thought, a little bit on personnel and their lack of personnel.
Yeah.
In some areas, like basically said in the overhang at that nickel position, Childress was awesome at it last year.
Mm-hmm.
But basically, we don't really want to have a smaller body out there. We'd like to play with two guys.
Yeah. So that's why CJ Works is getting 20 snaps a game.
Specifically, like in 11 personnel, they don't want to automatically have to play their nickel. In 11 personnel, they want to kind of pick and choose when they can play. Specifically when they're playing zone, they can just have a big body out there to defend those actions better on the perimeter when they throw the quick game out there. Brought up Jordan Wright in it. And to me, Nick, it was like a personnel thing. Well, I got to thinking, okay, well, Keaton Wade was supposed to be that.
Yep.
He's having a good season in Colorado.
Yep.
Jacob Smith, they recruited him to play that.
He's been hurt.
Alex Safari was kind of a nice, I thought, hybrid to play that.
Oh, but he's got to play Will now.
But he's got to
your
play
other
inside
linebackers didn't develop.
That, and I think that was probably the best move for Fari's future as far as the NFL goes, is playing inside. But yeah, so like it's like a personnel thing. So then I go, well, why didn't you address this? And then it's probably a thing where, they only had so much money and the offense got most of it in the offseason.
He also essentially said, too, that when you have to play certain guys more, their level of play drops. And
that was Teron Nichols he was talking about.
Yeah, where it's like we've had to play him a lot more snaps than we anticipated, and it's hurting his play. But hey,
and I think even JQ's playing a lot of snaps.
He's played the most snaps of anybody on the executive defense.
You look at a lot of his tackles. I don't think he's missing a lot of tackles, but he's hitting someone and they're gaining 3-4 yards.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's not like he's coming up against a big tight end. It's like receivers that he should be able to wrap up and stalemate at least, and that's just not happening. So is that like a fatigue thing? Is he playing too many snaps? Because you haven't been able to
rotate.
You thought you were gonna have three corners, so you only have two, and you have no one else right now.
No.
Because Kevis Thomas was supposed to be, you brought him in because he had experience to be your fourth cornerback. They can't play him.
Yeah.
After it was bad, they just don't want to play him. I should say that. They don't want to play him after what happened against Ole Miss and Eastern Michigan. So the back seven is just, concerning. You take a look. They added how many transfers? They didn't really add any transfers to the back seven.
Just Kevis Thomas.
Landon Watson, Kevis Thomas. That was it.
Yep. I can't think of any others. Not great. It's not great. And I think that's when we talked about the stuff stacking up, and I love the Clark Griswold bubblegum analogy because they did get better at certain things. But it feels like every time they rebuild one column on this dilapidating structure, the other one starts falling down. Right.
Yeah, I'm also not sure at this point in the season last year if this team could beat last year's team. I would bet on last year's team at this point.
In mid-October? Yeah.
Yeah.
This was right when they started to skid, though. Would be like around this time.
Well, Midnight Madness was Midnight Madness.
Yeah.
So it was right now. It was this week is when it
Yeah,
all
because
fell
Stoops
apart.
came in and did his whole it's good to be back here.
And then that, like, you talk to people and they pretty much said, like, the feeling when they, like, everyone rallied after the South Carolina, they kind of got shocked. But when people started let go of the rope was after that ban. They were as shell shocked that they lost that game as they were that South Carolina jumped up on. And Matt brought up a good point. Like, you can't get blown out to South Carolina 2 years in a row. You can't lose 2 of 3 to Vanderbilt, consecutive home games.
Yeah.
And then you get blown out by Louisville. You can't get blown out by Louisville and South Carolina in the same year. And that happened last year.
It's tough. Tough scenes. Yeah, I'm trying to think. So that Midnight Madness would have been, Saturday be the 1 year
Okay,
anniversary.
John KY Blue here said this whole show we haven't talked about NIL versus the rest of the conference.
They have enough money. That's
Mark
that's what you need
Stoops
to know.
went to them last year, and that was the whole part of the Cutler thing, was to get more NIL money. They have money. Do they have the most? No, but they are in the. Now we'll see what happens moving forward. But for this year, they're were
fine.
competitive. Yes.
Yeah, they spent a lot of money. You would be disgusted at how much they spent on some of those receivers.
And some of that offensive, they have one of the more, they might have the, if not the most, it's top 5 most expensive offensive lines in college football.
Yep. And it's average. Better.
Which but we knew, like, that you have to pay a premium for average at that position.
And, here's the other thing too, John KY Blue. Like, we've done this before. Last year's roster was like 5 million. This year's is like 15 or something. I don't know the exact numbers. We don't need to do the song and dance before. They got plenty of money. They had plenty of money last year. And to get back to the original big picture conversation, the buyout price tag doesn't seem as big if you're losing money in all of your other buckets, right? Mitch Barnhart talks about your buckets. He loves
diplomas in hand, rings on finger, and
they're holding
cash in buckets.
They're holding buckets of money. But you can't sink more money into, like, basically, if you think that bringing him back is going to work, you have to invest more into him, not just like keep the status quo, right? Like, it's not like we've got to pay him. Well, we don't need to invest more. No, you would have to invest more to rebuild the roster again. Right. Whereas, like, if you're going to fire him, yes, you have to invest more, but also people are more motivated to spend more money on a new coach. See what I did there?
Yeah, which is why I think, like, if Stoops is being honest, there's no quitting him. He wants to do this. I think there's leverage, or I don't know if there's leverage. I think Kentucky could pitch, all right, we're going to give this money to give you more, but we're going to take you. You have to agree to a lower buyout.
Yeah.
Right. And then we would have to have some demands. Like Tony, Virginia pretty much stripped Tony Elliott of personnel power, I think is the best way to put that. They hired a GM. A GM hired a staff.
So Mark Stoops would have to agree to getting a new boss. I'm sure that would.
Well, I don't know if you would do it that way, but there's other demands I think you can make.
I know what you mean, though. And I just don't. I don't see.
Does he want to,
does he want to
do that? I think, to me, like, you hear Stoops, and other people have made this point. That press conference pretty much sounded like, pay me my money. Like, fire me, That's what it sounded like. Now, whether that's the point he wanted to come, that's how he wanted to sound or how it was perceived. But that's how I think it was perceived by pretty much everyone.
And here's... I hate continually bringing stuff back up. Is that the most passion we've seen from Mark Stoops?
Yeah, which is why the South Carolina post game was like, what the hell was that? Like, just kind of, it happens. Get them next week. That was almost like the tone of that, and it was like, you just played your biggest game of the year, and you all like totally messed it up.
Oh, Oh, this is a fun way to wrap up the show. Great, not depressing way at all. Donovan says that if you take the 16 teams in the SEC, think Vandy, Kentucky, Missouri, South Carolina, Mississippi State, and Arkansas are 6 teams that can never win a title. Is this your burner, Peak? We had this. Donovan, I'm being 100% serious. We had this
He is
conversation
sending money to himself right now.
in Georgia. We had this exact conversation at UGA. Huh. Wild times. All right.
Yeah, sure. Yes, sure. But again, all those teams can make the playoff.
Yep.
And that is the goal moving forward. All those teams you mentioned right there, and Vandy will join that team, have won, I believe, at least, or all those teams have won 10 games in a season, like in the BCS era, Nick. Arkansas with Petrino, Mississippi State,
Dak.
Dan Mullen,
Yeah.
Dak, South Carolina, just did it with Beamer, did it with Spurrier, or haven't done it with 110 with Beamer yet, but they did it with Spurrier.
Right.
Missouri's did it with Pinkel and Drinkowitz in this conference. Kentucky with Stoops.
Yep.
And Vandy could get there this year. All those teams can win 10 games. You win 10 games, you can make the playoff.
It can happen. Will it happen for Mark Stoops? Definitely not this year. Not enough games left. They've got 7 games left. Not one this Saturday. Enjoy your weekend off. Enjoy it wearing Roback, RHOBACK.com. Promo code KSR, $20 off your first purchase. Get your fall gear ready. It's Q-zip season. It's hoodie season. It's pullover season. I was rocking mine today. Look, it felt glorious. I hope you get to enjoy some fall off. I know you can't wait to watch some Joe Flacco football on Sunday.
Yep. Wedding on Saturday. It feels like a tradition. We have a wedding every bye week. A couple of years ago, you remember we had the Iowa same game parlay, the bet under everything with old Bacon Hill. Almost hit. I'm sure we'll have some other bets we'll be riding right out and check out Pigskin Preview on Thursday.
Yeah, we'll be cooking them up tomorrow afternoon. Tonight's a great night for us to do some research. Hope you enjoyed hanging out with us tonight. For Adam Luckett, I'm Nick Roush. Go Cats and go Kroger.